Tie a ribbon around a couple of these UC and Ohio State games over the weekend. Luke Fickell was asked about his reaction to playing down in Fayetteville and suffering a tough loss on Saturday. Here's Coach Fickell.
That's a really tough one. Nobody likes to lose, and you know, it's not something you can ever get used to. We've been very fortunate in the past, obviously regular season-wise the last couple of years. But nonetheless, this is an incredible learning experience. This is a growing time and an opportunity for us as a team as we continue to find out and figure out and develop who us really looks like. So I don't want those guys and myself or any of these coaches to hang their heads. I thought, we found out a lot about ourselves, about our fight and our toughness. We just didn't get it done. We didn't play well enough on both sides of the ball to get the job done in a tough environment and against a really good football team. So. But this is how you figure out who you really are.
How do you not love that guy? Seriously. How do you not love that guy? No excuses. No nothing. We didn't get the job done. But we do have to learn about who we are with Desmond Ridder not here anymore, starting at quarterback, won 44 games over the last 4 years. Third most, I believe, in Division 1A college football history by a starting quarterback. You're going on the road. First start for the new guy. I know he started a couple of years ago before he transferred, started a game for Ridder, but he's a brand new quarterback at UC. And, I love the word toughness because that's really what Fickell is all about. And football is still a violent, physical, tough sport. And you can have all the razzle-dazzle and all the spread stuff and all this sort of finesse stuff and everything else going on. But football is a violent, physical game played by violent, physical, tough young people. Luke Fickell was one of them as a player at Ohio State. And he knows that's how you win in football. His teams will always be tough and physical. Good days ahead. I mentioned Ryan Day. One of the most interesting stories I read leading into the season was something I briefly touched on a moment ago. And I got into a big debate with an Ohio State fan I was sitting next to at the game on Saturday about how they felt about Urban Meyer. And, look, the year in the pros and the Jacksonville thing, I'm separating that entirely from Urban Meyer at Ohio State. Okay? Won a national championship. His record through the roof. He'd have won another one or two had he stayed. He didn't, and that's that. But one thing everybody will always tell you, and it's a reason why I believe he's the only coach with a certain number of games that has a winning record against Nick Saban. And I'm not comparing Nick Saban to Urban Meyer. Saban's the greatest college coach of all time, period. But Urban has a winning record against him. And it's because of that smash-mouth toughness and that swagger and that just the whole game. Never letting up. Just pound them to death in there. Every single play and humiliate them if you can. Okay? And a lot of the new age crowd, they don't want to hear about that stuff. Okay? They don't want to hear about it. But that's what it is. And those are the kids you bring to play football at Ohio State. Okay? A lot of people feel like Ryan Day has not had that sort of whatever, right? Despite being 35-4 in his tenure at Ohio State. But here were some of Day's comments after the game, the victory over Notre Dame the other night.
I refuse to answer that question right off the bat. We just beat the number 5 team in the country by 11 points. And when you look at the last 4 teams that we played, I think all 4 teams were in the top 10. And this is a top 5 team. It's not easy to do. It's hard. And we just beat the number 5 team in the country by 11 points. And I couldn't be any prouder of our team and the way that our team played, especially in the fourth quarter. A lot of people question our toughness going into the offseason. Well, you have to watch the film and you make your decisions if you thought that team was tough tonight. And for us to win the way we did, I couldn't be any prouder. And we lost Jackson early on, and it was a struggle. Their game plan was to kind of hold on to the ball and control the game, and so there wasn't as many possessions, and we missed on a few things early, got off schedule. But to be able to get the run game going in that last quarter, man, says a lot about our team. And C.J. Stroud was right well in front of that, made some huge plays down the stretch. And I think you can see who C.J. wants to be. It isn't that he wants to go out there and have, all these yards and everything like that. That's not important to him. What important is winning. He's a winner. And to see him play like that and then see the offensive line and those guys run. But the story of the night was the defense. To turn around after what's been said about them in the offseason, questioning their toughness and play the way they did against a number 5 team in the country. I'm proud of our guys. And if we can continue to win games like that, then that's how we'll win games. And when you can win different ways, it says a lot about your team as well. And I think this game is going to pay dividends down the road.
That's as great a soundbite as you're going to get from a coach after a game. He addressed all the things right there in that 45 or 50-second quote, soundbite, that I just talked about, that a lot of Ohio State fans have wondered about. Their defense, start there. Awful last year, right? They bring in Jim Knowles from Oklahoma State. First play of the game, Notre Dame throws one for 30 yards. And you're thinking, oh, again? They were overwhelmingly dominant for the second half of that game. Allowed less than 75 yards of offense in the second half to a really good Notre Dame team who brought back a really good offensive line. A couple of guys on that offensive line are All-Americans. And Notre Dame played well. Wouldn't take anything away from them. But, Day addresses that. He addresses the offense not putting up 35, 45, 50 points. I think something off the top of my head I read. I think in like 7 of their games last year, they scored 40 or more. Maybe it was more than that. And a couple of games scored 50 or more, right? And all of us, me included, thought, oh, they're going to do that to Notre Dame. And Ryan Day is just sitting there saying, look, our quarterback, who, by the way, I got to tell you, there were a couple of throws he made in that game, rolling left as a right-handed thrower, that he had to put in a window about this wide to convert on big third downs late in that game. I don't get to watch Bryce Young enough, and I don't get to watch some of these other guys enough to know whether they make that throw rolling to their right in a clutch, big-time situation. I don't know. But I know that C.J. Stroud made it and made a number of them. And you heard it from Ryan Day. All C.J. Stroud cares about is winning games because they're still humiliated with what happened last year against Michigan.